Hi, my name is James Speed. I just completed the front end track with Code Louisville, and over the past 12 weeks, I've been able to pick a project to work with, and I've chosen a plumbing company. So let's take a look at it.
Alright, so here's my project, Jess Plumbing. Currently have it open in Google Chrome, and as you can tell, the site here is fully responsive. It adjusts for desktops, tablets, and mobile devices. And one of the mindsets I had with designing this site was to be mobile friendly. Currently the site that they use has hardly any content on it, but they use a lot of Facebook. For their Facebook page, have a lot of content on that, so I've kind of orientated it a little bit around Facebook, as well as focused more on like the call to action here, with the emergency service number in the service request form with scheduling a technician. A couple things I'm going to highlight here, just a couple key points before I get into the code, is some things that stand out. I have a pop out here for the service request form, which actually the content they have on their site was all able to fit into this one here form. So everything else you see I've pretty much came up with. But for sake of an example here, when you fill this out, as well as the drop down here, and submit it, right now I have it going to http://bin.org, just to kind of show what the API for the post request would send back with this information right here. One other thing I want to highlight on this page that I've been working on is the customer review section. If you click on it, it goes to the about page, and from here I have a couple plugins. One is the Facebook that links to their Facebook page, and also the customer review ticker that I have going here. You'll notice that if you hover the mouse over it, the ticker stops, but when the mouse is not focused on the content, it scrolls the next one. So about every 4 seconds it does that. Excuse me. And then one other thing I wanted to show was on the contact page. I have a Google map populated here, and then the tablets, it kind of goes a little bit more of a bigger viewport, and then when you bring it down, it pops up a QR code. So let's go ahead and take a look at the code behind this. For sake of time, I'll show you a couple of the things that I highlighted here in the code. Some of the challenges I faced with this project was I had to redo the project on 3 separate occasions. One of the times was my computer had crashed before I could upload the files on GitHub. So I started from that point developing in the cloud with Cloud9 as my IDE. But during that process, I had switched from Foundations frameworks to Bootstrap frameworks, just to kind of try both of them out and learn a little bit about both of those frameworks. And currently, right now, the project is in Bootstrap. So let's dive in here. For the sake of time, I won't really go into too much of the HTML part, but I will show you the parts that I highlighted on the project. In the HTML, I got things like the CDNs for Bootstrap as well as jQuery. I have all those pointing to the source files versus actually, uploading them into the files here. And I also got things like screen reader only classes for the logo, where the logo shows J's Plumbing won't actually read on the screen readers. So I had this hidden in the background for screen readers. A couple other key things throughout all of this, but for sake of example here, I'll just go ahead and get into a little bit of the script. But the HTML is all the way across. The navigations, the footers are all pretty much the same on all the pages, as well as the service request form. It's just a few content in between there that's different between each page. But this is my main CSS, the style sheets. It's pretty standard. I have header selectors, navigation selectors. On this part here with the shadows, I had 3 different methods for all the different browsers that are out there for compatibility. Button selectors, it's pretty standard. Body selectors, map selectors, this is just for that Google Maps container that I was showing you. This is the contact form, so that's pretty standard across all 3 pages. I also have a customer review section. Now, Although this does highlight the ticker that you saw, there's also another section I'm going to eventually implement here for ratings, where people can, customers can actually rate on the site and then send that information back to the database for us to track, which is right here, the rating widget that I'll eventually implement. I have several ideas for this site, and once I actually meet with the client, I'll be able to go over all the different ideas that I have, and we can kind of go from there on what we want to implement. But this is my media queries for the responsive viewpoints, and kind of how I wanted it to be. The drop down in the desktop version versus the tablets have the actual menu listed out there, and then on the mobile have them into buttons. So that's kind of where all this is right here, listed out. So that's it pretty much for the CSS part. For my JavaScript, I have it listed as script.js, and I have everything wrapped into a document ready function, which first I have the pop out SRF, or special request form, what that stands for. It's pretty standard jQuery here. It just basically, if you click the button, then it pops it out over the content. So the Facebook widget, this is what Facebook had given me to call for, and this is actually the key to their Facebook page. But it's pretty simple as well as how that populates. Now the ticker has quite a bit in it. It basically has the functions here listed out, as far as all the different methods that it has within it, and then the construction on how each one of those methods work, as far as like the timer, when it starts, and then the initialization of when everything's initialized and everything's loaded, all the different intervals between them, and what happens during the start method. I mean, it's pretty standard. If you basically look at it, it's self-explanatory, where the first child appends to the last child. It's got the different move directions that it calls for. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory here. This is the part where it actually attaches to the DOM, and this is the actual call that we have to get it going. And I have it set to 400 or 4,000 milliseconds, or 4 seconds. It only has 3 different reviews visible, and then basically I have it where it scrolls down there. So that's pretty much it for the ticker part. On the actual ticker, if you look in the HTML, basically what I did was just I went to their Facebook page and basically copied what they had and posted it into the HTML for now. Alright, and lastly, in the script.js, I have the copyright section, where it manipulates the DOM after it grabs the current year and posts it into the section where the copyright is. So that's pretty much it right now. I can go into a lot more, but for sake of time, I appreciate you taking a look at this. If you want to check out more of my projects, go to github.com/jspeed7. Thank you.
Well, there it is. I hope you enjoyed my project. The next steps for this project would be to push it live. Next steps for me is I'm actually very interested in the back-end side. I'm hoping to continue my training with Code Louisville, more so with the Android and iOS development, but I am open up to opportunities. So again, my name is James Speed, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.